let's start today's video with topic decomposition. We have heard about earthworm. We know that they are called farmer's friend. Why they are called farmer's friend? Because they are converting larger soil particles into smaller soil particles, and similarly decomposers are also doing almost same thing, that they are converting larger organic matter into simpler inorganic salts like carbon, or simple inorganic chemicals like carbon dioxide, water, and nutrients, right? Nutrients for plants. So this process is called decomposition, and in decomposition materials like, not materials but substances like things like leaves of plant, shaded leaves of plant, right, which has fallen down already, flowers, then bark of trees, fallen bark of trees, then animal excreta, and all these things act as detritus. Means these are the first thing which comes under decomposition, right? So detritus is decomposed here in this soil, and from this detritus larger organic substances get converted into simpler inorganic chemicals, which we have studied, which we have observed earlier, right, which we have discussed earlier. Understood? And in this process there are 5 steps. Now what are those 5 steps? 5 steps. First is fragmentation, second is catabolism, then leaching, then humidification, and last one is mineralization. Understood? So all this process constitutes decomposition process. Now what occurring in fragmentation process? In fragmentation process, larger molecules or larger organic substances get converted into simpler or smaller organic substances, right? So here just fragmentation of larger particles is occurring into smaller particles. Understood? Then comes leaching. In leaching, water soluble inorganic substances or nutrients or minerals get inseeped in the soil horizon, and they get precipitated in the region where they become unavailable, where they are present as unavailable salts. Understood? So this process is called leaching. And then catabolism process, here there are bacteria and fungus which are producing certain enzymes, and these enzymes are helping in conversion of complex organic material into simpler inorganic substances, right? So this process is called catabolism. Now the first 3 steps, that is fragmentation, leaching, and catabolism, is occurring simultaneously in the soil, right? Now let's come to this 2 process, that is humidification and mineralization. Now what is occurring in humidification is there is an accumulation of dark colored amorphous substance which is highly resistant to decompose. Understood? And it takes it decomposes at extremely slow rate. Understood? So this substance acts as it is also having colloidal nature. So this substance acts as reservoir for mineral nutrients. Understood? Further, degradation of this humus is called mineralization process, right, wherein inorganic substances is being added in the soil. So this is how decomposition is occurring. Now again, for decomposition to occur, there is actually 3 factors, right? First is availability of oxygen, then substance of what kind of substance is there in detritus or as detritus, right? And third one is what are the environmental conditions, like how the moisture is, how temperature is. Understood? So all these 3 factors are having their essential role in decomposition. So let's talk about them one by one. First we will talk about oxygen. As decomposition is oxygen requiring process, so obviously in presence of oxygen only this process will occur. Understood? Now let's talk about what kind of chemicals are there in detritus, right, which is undergoing decomposition process, right? So if this detritus is having nitrogen and water soluble sugars, then this detritus will be easily decomposed, right? It get easily decomposed. But if it is having lignin and chitin like substance, then it will be very difficult to decompose, right? So lignin and chitin doesn't get decomposed very easily. Understood? So it is depending on chemicals that whether decomposition will occur faster or at slower rate, right? Again, climatic conditions, like if temperature is warmer and if there is moist in the environment, right? If moist environment is available, then again decomposition will be encouraged. Understood? Here decomposition will occur at a better rate. Understood? But if temperature is colder and anaerobiosis is there, anaerobiosis means less availability of oxygen is there, then decomposition process will be very much slower, and in fact this condition will lead to build up of organic matter. Understood? let's study about energy flow. Except deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem, all ecosystem for energy solely depend on sun. Understood? We are depending on sun's energy, not we, but all living organisms. Except this kind of ecosystem, all living organisms depending on the sun's energy, right? The radiation that we are getting from sun. And from solar radiation, less than 50% is photosynthetically active radiation. Photosynthetically active radiation. Now, what is meaning of photosynthetically active radiation? It means only this kind of radiation can be used for photosynthetic process by the photosynthetic organisms. Understood? Remaining kind of radiations can't be used for photosynthesis. Understood? So out of solar radiation that has been incident on the Earth's surface, less than 50% of them included in PAR, that is photosynthetically active radiation, PAR. Understood? And among all this PAR, that is all those radiations which comes on Earth's surface as photosynthetically active radiation, only 2 to 10% are used by plants. And whatever energy is produced by just a small amount of energy is sustaining all living organisms, all biosphere. Understood? It is there for all biosphere. So first this energy comes in plants or photosynthetic organisms, then this energy flow from different trophic levels in an ecosystem, right? It goes from all living organisms, it flows from all living organisms, and that is why it is called energy flow. Understood? We know that we are, there are different type of animals, they are called as consumers in ecosystem, and this among these consumers there are primary consumers, and then those will be eaten up by other organisms, right? And so on. All the animals are directly or indirectly dependent on plants for their energy. Understood? So we are depending on, so in this way we are getting energy. We are means animals and plants are getting energy. Understood? And this is how energy flows in among the different organisms. Okay. And here also in biosphere also, when we talk about energy, here second law of thermodynamics is obviously applied here. Understood? In which to every spontaneous reaction there is an increase in entropy or disorderliness. Understood? Or disorderliness. Understood? Or degree of randomness. There will be increase in degree of randomness. And here also this thing is occurring. Here when energy is flowing through each and every trophic level, energy is being dissipated at heat or in other forms. Understood? So this is how energy is flowing in one direction, and this energy which is flown from one direction, that is once it goes to the consumers, then it will goes to the decomposers in the form of excreta or in form of dead bodies. Understood? And through these decomposers it will be come out as heat energy, which will not which cannot be used again by the plants. So for organic matter or inorganic nutrients, there is a cycle of all these chemicals, right? That is from producer it goes to consumers, and from consumers it goes to decomposers, and again from decomposers it comes to producers, right? But here for energy flow, there is only this flow of energy is only, a flow of energy is only in one direction, that from producers it goes to consumers, and from consumers it goes to decomposers, right? And from decomposers it will be lost as heat. Again with the flow of energy during each trophic level, there is dissipation of energy in the form of heat. Understood? So that is how energy flow is unidirectional. Again, it is important to note that in ecosystem, green plants are producers. When we talk about terrestrial ecosystem, herbaceous plant and woody plants are major producers, while when we talk about aquatic ecosystem, phytoplanktons, algae and few higher plants are major producers. By now we know that plants or all photosynthetic organisms are called producers, right? And these producers or part of these producers are eaten up by some organisms. Mostly they are animals, and so these animals which are feeding on plants are called herbivores, and they are called primary consumers, right? They are called primary consumers, and these consumers or part of these consumers are eaten up by other animals which are called carnivores. Carnivores are those which feed on other animals or animals parts, right? So these are called secondary consumer, and those animals which consumes carnivores, they are called tertiary consumers, right? So we have this different kind of levels among consumers: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers are herbivores, secondary consumers are carnivores feeding on herbivores, and tertiary consumers are carnivores feeding on consumers. Understood? So in this way, there are three levels in consumers, and again after all these things we have decomposers or detrivores. Understood? When these organisms or plants die and they fall on soil, they get mixed with the soil because of these decomposers. Understood? These decomposers are mainly bacteria or fungi which feed on this dead and decomposed organic matter and converting them into simpler organic matter. And thus there are two food chains, right? One is called grazing food chain and another one is called detritus food chain. Now in grazing food chain there are producers and consumers, and in detritus food chain there is detritus and detrivores. Detrivores are nothing but decomposers. They are also called as saprotrophs. We have discussed about grazing food chain, in which there are producers, then primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. For example, plants, goats, and humans, right? So plant is producer, then this goats are primary consumer. Then if we are eating this goat, then obviously some of us eat goat also, so we become secondary consumer, right? And if we are eaten up by a lion or tiger or any other animal, then that animal is tertiary consumer, right? So this is called grazing food chain. Understood? This is called grazing food chain. Understood? And there is another kind of food chain is called detritus food chain. That means when this animal dies, when the dead bodies are lying on the soil, these dead bodies are decomposed by organisms present in soil that we have discussed already, bacteria and fungus, and these bacteria and fungus are acting on them, converting larger organic matter into simpler inorganic materials, right? So this kind of food chain is called detritus food chain, where dead body or remaining of bodies or excreta of body act as detritus, and to this detritus detrivores act on. Understood? To produce simpler inorganic substances which get mixed with the soil further. Understood? So that is how there are two food chains: grazing food chain and detritus food chain. Again, if we look at aquatic ecosystem, most of the energy flow is occurring in the grazing food chain, right? Most of the conduit of energy flow is occurring in grazing food chain. But just opposite to that, in terrestrial ecosystem, in detritus food chain, energy flow is much higher than the grazing food chain. This is somewhat surprising, right? That how detritus food chain have more energy flow than the grazing food chain. That is because some of the detrivores can be eaten up by animals which are there in grazing food chain. Remember, there is not only food chain, but there is food web. Understood? Where some organisms can be, for example, there are some animals which are feeding on this detrivore. Let's say ant are eating this fungus, right? There is a species of ant which act on fungus, and this fungus is actually decomposing liters of leaves that are fallen on lands, right? So this fungus is actually detrivorous here, right? As it is consuming leaves, as it is converting complex organic matter into simpler substances, right? And absorbing it into its body. Understood? But this ant is eaten up by some mammals, some ant-eating mammals, and that's how it again come in grazing food chain. Understood? And again there is food web over here. So in grazing food chain, there is more energy flow in terrestrial ecosystem. There is more energy flow in grazing food chain in detritus food chain rather than grazing food chain. Understood? So this how energy flow is occurring in grazing food chain and detritus food chain in aquatic ecosystem and in terrestrial ecosystem, right? Again, these organisms, when we call them producers, consumers, and decomposers, they are again divided in many trophic levels, right? The first trophic level is of producers. They are called phototrophic organisms, right? That's what we call them. That's why the name is trophic levels, right? Then to this trophic levels, heterotrophic organisms are depending. Understood? Again, there are levels of consumers in heterotrophic organisms, and so these are again different trophic levels, understood. And when these organisms are giving off their excreta in soil, or when they get die, again this thing added in the soil and they get decomposed by decomposers, understood, which are also called as saprotrophs. They are mainly bacteria or fungus, understood. So these are the different trophic levels in the food, in the ecosystem, understood. And it is important to note that there is dissipation of heat or loss of heat during flow of energy between different trophic levels, right? When energy is flowing from one trophic level to another trophic level, there will be a loss of heat, there will be loss of energy when this energy is flowing from one trophic level to another trophic level, understood.